I think if you're not going to win the show, I think your first hurdle is to be in the jury. I mean, that's a huge honor in itself. Um, I mean, obviously you want to make it to the final three, and then win the game. But to be in the jury is a huge honor, and you're with people you fought very hard with, and you have the power. So these three people that we're going to see tonight have to convince us to give them $1 million, which, I mean, would definitely help me out. So I hope that they have great answers tonight. You know, these are people that we spent a lot of time with. Monica, Jervis, and Tyson. We spent a lot of time with these people. There's some bitterness, there's some friendships built, there's a lot of emotion there. And so for us as jury members, it's our time to suss it out, to hash it out with them. And, you know, what questions did we not get answers to while we were still in the game that we need some clarity on? And, you know, state your case. Do you think you played a great game? Do you think that you played a fair game? You know, and it's hard because you're looking for honesty. And so for the people that are still in the game, these three people, do they build themselves up to make them look like either heroes or that they played a perfect game, or do they just tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly? You know, so there's a lot of pressure on their end, and you know, it's exciting for us as jury members to be able to know that A, we have the power, and B, we can get these questions answered. I think with our final three of this season, it's hard to say that I'm completely pleased with who's left in the game. You know, obviously when I got voted out, I knew I wasn't going to make it, but I still had my mom in the game. So I'm thinking, she could bring in the good guys, the good team, Hayden, Sierra, and maybe they can just overpower Monica, Tyson, and Jervis and then become like the heroes that swoop in and get to the final three. So I felt like for me, there's at least a shred of maybe my mom can at least still be in the game and get to the final. So just for selfish purposes as well, I wanted my mom to get all the way to the final three. These guys are really tight. They didn't budge. I think it's admirable, and that's kind of the one admirable thing that I have to say about the three that are left. Some of them had great gameplay. They weren't the three that I would choose to see at the final three. I would like to see myself, Hayden, and Caleb. I think we played a great game, and you know, even Sierra. And I think that we were kind of the underdogs as well. But you know, these guys are returning players, and they did something right, so you have to commend them for that. With Monica, if anyone has a question for her and she doesn't give a concise answer, then they're going to cut her off. So it would behoove her to just stick to the point. And on the positive side, on the flip side, I think she played hard. She was great in the challenges. I mean, she didn't falter on a lot of these strength challenges. And, you know, she thought about her kids the whole time. I think it's very admirable. I think she won more immunity necklaces than anyone else did. And I think that goes to show that she was a fierce competitor. So that has warranted $1 million in the past, for sure. And I think that that's something that is on her side completely. She just got to shut up a little bit, you know, and reel it in. Jervis, negative side, you know, you could argue that he didn't make any personal moves outside of his alliance that got him to where he was. You know, a lot of people I've heard, at least, that are arguing that he kind of rode the coattail of his alliance. And did he make any strategic moves outside of his alliance? You know, was he in people's faces and felt a sense of superiority only because Tyson got in there? You know, Tyson's sort of deemed as the ringleader, and then Monica and Jervis are the ones that followed, but they all kind of need each other. What Jervis did right was he cleaned up his messes. So if he flopped, he went to each and every, you know, he came to me, he came to my mom, and gave his reason why he flopped, and in a sincere apology. And if he had to talk bad about one of us to someone else, he would come to us and say, here's what I had to say. So I think that none of us were really disposable in his eyes. I think that he legitimately wanted to make sure that he maintained relationships. I think that's brilliant. I think Jervis did a really good job of keeping relationships and making sure that they were on the right track. Very smart. You don't want to piss anybody off. Tyson, obviously, I feel like he is the king. You know, he has always been on this pedestal. He's done great. And he's gonna, I think that he'll get some votes tonight. And it's gonna take a lot for me he's gonna have to convince me. Also, because I don't really know about him. I haven't figured him out. I haven't figured Tyson out. So it's hard for me to say one way or the other, positives and negatives about him. I don't think he's a villain. I think that he's done what he had to do in the game to make it to where he is. And, you know, he's sort of this like gray that I have to just sort of separate as far as pluses and minuses. And I don't know, I still have some thinking to do about Tyson, but the other ones to me are pretty clear and concise, and there are things that I want to know from each and every one of them. I'm not 100% in my vote tonight. I have an idea of who I'm leaning towards, but the questions I'm going to ask will determine how my vote goes tonight at Tribal Council.